Okay, hello again. We're gonna try to explain the concatenate and how to make this chart using the I call them bin intervals, where it shows the different ranges that you chose. Because I chose only 6 bins, and I started my minimum rainfall for my first file. Each of these would be like my files of 1.5 to 7.99. That was what I just chose for my first, and then when I like again to find out what the interval was, I took the maximum, I minused it by my minimum, and so I know my intervals are 6.49, right? So my next number, that's 7.99. Oh, sorry, the equal sign. 7.99 has to add 1 penny. Yeah, just remember that, 1 penny. And that's how we've got the 8, right? And then to that 8, we have to add whatever your interval is, and my interval is 6.49. So again, and that's what I did for the rest of that. Yeah, so each one of your bins, well, no matter what the number starts with, wherever you started, you always add the 1 cent to whatever the number is here, and then to get that maximum number you have to add the interval. That same exact amount has to be added to each of these, from the minimum to the maximum. They each have an interval of 6.49. Okay, so that, if you need more understanding, again, just look at one of the earlier videos. But for this, I'm just going to clear it, so I'm highlighting that. I'm just going to clear contents and get rid of that. And the way I changed my color. Yikes, let me change that back to white. Get rid of that. Oh, never mind. Later on, I'll put back the lines. But anyway, what we're going to focus on right now is the bin intervals. Professor wanted us to add in this bin intervals next to the frequency so that we can make a chart like that, because we have to highlight both of those so that we have this nice little bottom section that tells us what the bin intervals are, the minimum to the maximum for each of the files, or each of the bins, basically. Okay, so he said you could technically just type in 1.5 2 dash 7.99, and that would be fine. But he said, okay, so we've got 6 bins, no big deal. But if you have like 500 bins, that would be a challenge. So he wants us to know how to do it another way. So we're going to use the concatenate. And to do that, we're gonna push the equal sign, and we're gonna spell concatenate. And we click on concatenate, and then we're gonna select the minimum for the first bin, and then we're gonna push a comma, and then we're gonna put a quotation and the minus sign and the quotation and the comma again, then the maximum number, and we're gonna push enter, and voila, we've got the 1.5 and that dash 0.799. Let's do this again. We're gonna go with the equal sign, concatenate, and we're gonna go with the second bin, and the minimum is 8, and we're gonna do the comma and the quotation for the dash, and then we're gonna do that. So those quotations is to keep that dash, for that little dash right there. And then we're gonna do another comma to separate the next number, and we're gonna pick that maximum number in bin 2, and then we're gonna push enter, and there we go. We got 8.5, and I wonder if I drag it, if it will nicely do the others. So the way I'm dragging it is I'm just clicking on the box, and then when I see that little black cross looking thing, then I drag it down. Let's see. Yay! So it did that. Okay, so we've got all of the bin intervals. And so when you got that done and you want to make the chart, you're going to highlight both the frequency and the bin interval together. and then you're gonna go to well, you could do charts, or I went to insert and chart, and then columns, and I just did stacked, and that's what I got here. As you can see, it has all those nice little bin intervals and the range for the frequencies and things like that. I personally like titles, so I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna pick one of these. Pick the first one, the chart title, and when I click on that, I'm able to erase it, and I'm going to type in that this is the frequency chart. Okay, and enter. Okay, how about I just click out? Okay, so we've got the frequency chart. Now, this is where it got complicated for me because I wanted to be able to do the bin interval and the cumulative frequency chart. And every time I try to do that, right, it's going to let go, and I can't have both of them together, and I tried to move them around. It wasn't working with me. So what I wound up doing is just highlighting this, and I went Command X on a Windows computer. I think it's Control X. And I went Command V, and if you're on a Windows computer, it would be Control V. And then I went, and well, you could probably even copy it, I would think. You know, it's like, yeah, nope, never mind, don't copy it. Just cut it. Oh. Just cut it. Okay, so I'm gonna highlight this one, and I'm gonna go Control X or Command X, depending which computer you're using. And I pasted it in. I know it's still the right numbers because, again, it's supposed to equal 120. Yeah, because we had 120 total. Okay, so then I highlight both. And then we can go to our, again, it's like if you were in another thing, just hit charts. And column. And I'm going to push the stacked. And here we've got the cumulative frequency chart. And I want to make a title. And I'm gonna, oh, why did you do that? Okay, let's go back again. All right. Cumulative. I'm trying to do this with one hand, so that's hard. Frequency. Okay, so I've got my second chart done. Okay, so I am going to just highlight this. I don't know, there must be an easier way, and I'm just gonna cut and paste that thing back in. And then I'm gonna go, I mean, if there's an easier way, yeah, you know, like, let me know. Okay, so Control X or Command X to cut that, and then paste that there. Highlight both, and then make your new chart. Title that, and I would turn that title into relative frequency, and then I would do one more, and I would do the cumulative relative frequency, you know, and stuff like that. So basically I'm going to cut and I'm going to paste this thing back in. Cut and paste. Okay, anyway, so you've got a basic idea. That's the concatative. Let's look at that again. What is it? Concatanate. Concatanate. To make those bin intervals, and I would cut and I would paste to put that back in, and then how you make the charts. One of the other things that he did that I had not known how to do before this was he was talking about how if we want to keep a number constant, that we could add the $ before and after. And I'm not sure that I've got the real gist of that, but say if we took, let's just say the frequency is 6, and then we're taking the next number, which is the 45 plus the 6, that would be 51. Supposedly if we wanted to keep that 6 number constant, if we want to keep the 6 number constant, not saying that we did, we'd put a $sign before and after the letter, and before and after the letter, and then we push enter, and then when we drag this down it would always be adding 6, something like that. Oh, that didn't work. Anyway, I'm not even sure about that, but I do know that he said as far as the constant goes, if we put that $sign before and after the letter, and I'm not sure where or how to use that, but that's something we can look into, but I didn't want to forget that he mentioned that. Okay, so if you have questions, I guess give me a call or text, let me know. Okay.